all. Welcome to another episode of Humans of HR, where we are having another very interesting conversation with Mr. Chand Narayan. The last episode, we spoke about employee engagement, and to be specific, we were talking about the whole cultural aspect, right? Organization culture, and how do we build engagement around that. And I also got to know that we have few more points left. So even in today's episode, we're going to be focusing on the same, how to use the cultural axis to increase employee engagement, understanding what do people actually need, and be there when they actually need you instead of being called for. So that's the whole HR process we're talking about. And today we've also decided we'll be sharing a few examples, real time examples on how we've seen these aspects play an important role in every organization. So, back to you, Chief. So, what's the first factor that we're going to be focusing on today, which is going to help all our HR professionals understand the cultural axis of employee engagement much better?
Thanks, Harish. Let's start with life events. And I think there's some organizations that make as much a hash of, for example, birthdays of employees as they do with the mehndi competitions. So I think we need to look at uh, these life events with a lot of thoughtfulness and figure out what works for our organization, what works for the people in our organization. So let's start with the birthdays. Now,
Hmm.
the typical fashion in which, as organizations grow larger, and you don't want to spend 30 days, everybody, it's like there is a birthday at least once every 2 days or something like that. So you don't want to waste collective time. That's the logic. And so what you do is that you organize a, a few cakes at the end of the month, and you get everybody to come and cut the cake. Most of it is splattered on the face, falls to the floor. Um, I really can't relate to that practice. Um, so let's look at birthdays. What do they mean, and why is it important for us in organizations to be thoughtful about how we celebrate that? So if you look at, so first and foremost,
Chief, before we get going, can you just lower your screen a little bit
sure.
so that,
Okay.
right, perfect. Yes.
Thank you. So the if we look at our and of course, cultural practices differ a lot, but I think a birthday is and cake certainly is not part of our larger cultural ethos. Not that I have anything against cakes. Yeah, I can't eat too much of it, but the point that I'm trying to make is that it has to be thoughtful. This is a special day for the person. And if I were to interpret how to use that as an opportunity to build engagement for this person, the few things that I would do is, typically when you get up in the morning on your birthday, you go and touch your parents' feet. If you're lucky, your parents are around, or you call them if they're living um, in a place different from where you are currently, and so on. So I think it is good to get them to connect with the senior leadership or their leadership group. So the leaders need to put in some time on their calendar, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, to, to and I think it'll be brilliant if the leaders could walk across and wish the person. But even the may be very difficult for the CEO of a company to do, for example. So the CEO could organize for having their cup of tea or coffee with this person. So it's not a formality wishing the person happy birthday. It's an exchange of how are you and what's up with you and what do you uh, what are what's how's the last year been for you and what's up for the next year. That helps the leaders also get a hang of what the person is thinking, where are they in their mind space, and what are some of the things that they could visualize and plan for this person in their important member in their team. So it has to be personalized. If there is a gift, it needs to have more of thought value than monetary value. Um, I think if you don't want to think too much about it, giving a potted plant would be a great idea. But if you do want to give a gift, it needs to be thoughtful. Um, the so that's birthdays. Anniversaries, I think the best thing people can do is to um, give a coupon or give a half day off so that they can go off and have a meal in the restaurant, all paid for, or do something nice. Um, Also, in terms of there's a mosquito that has decided to launch an attack. Also, you could look at you know doing creating a different experience. You uh, Usually people don't go to plays or do certain music concerts, so maybe giving a different experience. So that all of that needs to be curated. It has to also do with what this person likes, what they're amenable to, etc. And it's the same thing for the birthday as well. What matters to that person? So a deep involvement of their HR business partner is it's this HR business partner's recommendation that needs to be uh, what should happen. And of course, you can put a budget around it, and there are lots of nice things you can do, whatever is the budget. The But there are other events that happen in a person's life which from a professional perspective we are either ignorant of or we totally ignore or we don't have any thought or plan around it. Let me give you examples. What happens if there is a death in the person's family? What does the organization do? What happens if there is a hospitalization in the family? If there is a health insurance that the company is providing, then somebody in the HR admin team does get involved in some aspects of that. But beyond that, is there a thought in terms of, look, here is a team member who's going through a particular event in their life, and it's very significant for them in terms of what they're dealing with, and a gesture of support and real support can prove to be great. What about um, illnesses? When the person is ill, most organizations don't even want to acknowledge it. Come on, I think the person is ill. It's not only physically that you're down. A lot of times it impacts our psyche as well, and that is when you look for support. I think it's a proven fact that your psychology, where you are in terms of your how you're feeling, makes you more or less susceptible to illnesses. Your body immunity can go up or down based on how you're feeling. So I think there has to be a pre-thought, and maybe if you choose not to do anything, let that be through design and not through a default option again. That's what I've been kind of sharing from the first talk. What about marriage? What about childbirth? What about um, you know um, success in, if there are children and they do something, they come first in class, or they win a competition, or they do something remarkable, and there is a celebration. So is the organization going to even acknowledge it? How the organization figure this out? Uh, we have, most organizations are completely kind of ignorant, or have a default setting of don't know, can't say. Yeah, it happened. So my suggestion is, um, even if you choose not to do something, do it in a do it as a conscious choice. And if you choose to do something, however small, and it doesn't need a huge budget, uh, it's it's time that somebody has to give, and that ideally should be the reporting manager and the team members, um, and maybe the skip level boss, which is significant for this person concerned. So from that person's perspective, how are you imagining how you're going to be supporting them in different life events? So that's one, in terms of the experiences people go through. Some
Now, I have this question. I mean, I think many times it boils down to the consistency, because I've seen organizations when they start. I mean, the initial phases, and I'm not talking about multinational, but I'm talking about an organization that's set up with a bunch of people. The first bunch of people who join the organization, it's a smaller team. You celebrate the birthdays in a way that people remember, because it's a lot more personalized. But then it becomes bigger, and then practically it's not viable to celebrate all the birthdays, and then it's like all the November bonds on the floor kind of come together, and suddenly the personal touch to that celebration is gone. And the ones who have experienced both,
Mm,
the ones who have experienced the very personal kind of a celebration, now feel disconnected with the whole thing. um, and I think that's where the whole grudge comes in. I mean, earlier it was special. Now I'm just one amongst many.
mm,
So I think it's absolutely valid, the point that you mentioned, that it has to be thought through
yeah.
by the HR on how do they want to do, because it sets the precedent.
Yeah, and the point is, it's not that we can't celebrate everybody's birthdays. We can, even when you grow larger. Just restrict it to the team, because restrict it to the people who know this person. You don't have
Correct.
to turn everybody off, and do a stupid cake cutting. Uh, Cake cutting by itself is not stupid, but it's a kind of a very lame duck kind of an exercise to do, because we couldn't think of anything else. Is um, the one thing
Right.
we'll do. So,
That's a very interesting way of putting it. But I think the bigger takeaway for a lot of listeners is going to be the fact that there are times when the present could be the time
mm,
of the leadership, could be the reporting manager and the skip level, and I think that can be managed,
mm,
because then you are looking at a slightly smaller group,
mm,
and you can always route it.
mm,
And I think another point that came to my mind many times, the vouchers,
mm,
or the easier way out is to give a voucher. You associate an amount to it, and then because there is no personal touch to it whatsoever, more than feeling like a gift, it's like an entitlement.
yeah.
I'm entitled for this voucher. Where is the voucher? And the tone, and I mean, it happens. I mean, the tone in which people come and ask for, where is my voucher? That means the whole gifting, the whole feeling around that being special has been taken away.
Mm.
So how do you maintain that whole feeling of this experience being special is a big question, especially with people with larger teams.
So let me give you a few examples, and some of these I've had the opportunity to um, deploy. One is Typically, birthdays are celebrated at home. So, what is preventing us from sending a flower bouquet and a small cake? If cake is so important to our lives, I mean, we can send a cake, uh, so that the family also kind of is part of. It's not your cake, or they would anyways have organized whatever they would have organized. But the fact is that you've joined the family, and so you've kind of in that inner circle now.
Mm-hmm.
And the family also looks at the organization and as a letter uh, addressed to the spouse, for example, maybe chocolates for the if this person has children, chocolates for them with their names on a small note. Imagine how powerful that's going to be. Uh, so it's not so much about what's your budget and what you do. It's about how do you kind of reach out. The other thing that I would do, for example, on the anniversary, work anniversaries, is that my CEO would have a list of who are the people who have this their anniversaries, and so would ensure that he would have either a cup of tea or coffee with them, or other, they get to come in, sit with him in his lounge, and spend 5 minutes there, whether over a cup of tea, coffee or not. Um, or have them join them. So if the person is reporting in directly to the CEO, etc., you get the person to have a special lunch with the CEO, and there is nothing great about it, right? You're having anyways going to have lunch, and so you organize something, maybe some one dish that it's that person's favorite, and you say, okay, thanks to you, all of us get to eat your um, favorite dish at lunch, and have a conversation with this person in the center of the conversation. So you use everyday activities and include these events, so that you make it a part of work, you make it a part of life, and it's in the flow. And so yeah, it will not build that expectation. There is no monetary value attached to it, but there is a lot of emotional connect and engagement attached to it. If the bosses are not able to be there physically, if they're traveling, etc., then it's the HR business partner's responsibility to ask them for a short recorded video clip or message. So easy to do these days for anybody. And then somebody else who's there with that person plays it out over lunch or over a cup of coffee with the team. So you create these memorable events. And it's not taking away time from your regular work, or it's not such a, you do it in the flow. If some, if out of a team of 10 people, 4 people don't make it, there are 6 there. The other 4 can always kind of come in and, wish separately. But the fact is that, you will trying to build this. It's not, so the person knows that it's not going to be perfect. Not everybody is going to be there. They're not going to be holding their breath and clapping, happy birthday to you. And we wish you go to the zoo. Uh, Not really, but it's that, yeah, and you take it in your stride, but you still make it a special thing. So these are some of the practices. I'm sure there can be a lot of creativity that can be applied to coming up. One of my favorites, for example, was in for my team members, which I'm not very proud of today, is because I loved reading. I would pick up books which I think they needed to read in terms of where they were professionally and in terms of their careers, in terms of their personal lives, which would give them hopefully insights to become better human beings, better professionals, etc. Didn't always work, but what I did notice is that people cherished and kept those books for years. They'll remember
Mm-hmm.
that you'd given me. Yeah, I have not managed to read that book, but you'd given this. I guess they were kind, but they did see that there was a thoughtfulness that went behind what I was trying to do. And I think thoughtfulness is what matters here in each of these things.
Fabulous. So, life events, I think, are extremely important because it also helps people feel that there is an extended family that thinks about you, made sure that they did put some thought behind making the whole day feel special, apart from the processes that are already there.
Including giving a day off as a surprise, saying, go, we'll take care of whatever it is. You go take your spouse out for lunch or dinner, or surprise her with a movie, or um, whatever.
Yeah, but I'll take you back to the same point. You do it for one person. I think the surprise ends there because a lot of people will start expecting it. So I also feel at times, do you feel um, it should be left within a team to decide how they want to do? Because I think the team constitutions are extremely strong. I've seen um, teams operating on the same floor. Some teams have great energy, some don't, because the team level constitution is something that needs to be driven.
Brilliant point. So the best way to do this, and it's not always possible, and therefore the HR business partner has to sometimes try this. But the ideal thing to do is to get, a week beforehand, get all the team members and ask them, what do you want to do? And sometimes this can be really brilliant because these guys will want to play a practical joke on this person, or do something which kind of builds the team camaraderie even more, because they know this person, they work every day with this person. So either the team that's team of colleagues, or the team that is reporting to the person, or the boss who's this person's reporting manager. I think they're the ones who should really decide what works. And it's okay to have a budget, but do what makes sense. I think budget is secondary. I think the primary is, how do we make it thoughtful and engaging and memorable for this person? It's a special day for this person, and it's this 5 or 10 minutes of my time, so it doesn't take too much. And yeah, not everybody may want to participate with equal fervor or have inputs, but whatever comes, you put people's minds and hearts to work, thinking about, what do I want to do this person? And they know that, there is going to be reciprocity. It What I give out comes back to me. I think organizations love playing this secret Santa thing, and I think those energies are better utilized for your own team members for celebrating their
Mhm.
birthday. But
Right.
having said that, there is one more kind of life event, which is a little different, which is, it's important in our financially oriented cultures. Or if you're working in an organization, you're working for compensation, and money is important to you. And so there are these milestones in a person's life where they buy their first bike, their first car, their home. Um, do you have any thoughts as an organization as to whether you're even acknowledging it or not? And what do you do around these? So there is tons of stuff that can be done. And remember, it's going to be happening for example, any young professional who's had occasion to um, buy the house, or one knows that by the end of that month, they will not even have pennies in their pocket because of all the unexpected expenses of, having to paying out all the registration fees and all kinds of nonsense. And then, uh, you don't have, you're short of cash. I think that's what the organization can give at that point of time. even if it is a very little amount of cash, is going to be seen with such gratitude, expressed or unexpressed. That's besides the point. When the young person buys this motorbike, I think the best gift that an organization can give is a helmet, knee pads, such safety stuff. It's telling the person that we understand your passion, but please stay safe. Yeah.
But
Uh,
I mean, what this triggers is now when you were talking about it, I was thinking I don't remember how the first car felt, but I still remember who are the ones I celebrated that whole experience with, and I think that's a lasting memory that we can also, I mean, the organization can always become a part of by doing something that small and that thoughtful. Very interesting. So I think
Again,
life
it's
events.
thoughtfulness, but I think it makes a huge difference in terms of the person's engagement with the.
Hmm.
See here, the- when you look at trust, and there's this model called Trust Unlimited. The top three things that build trust between people is the first one is the behavior which is called benevolence, which is that I look out for your interest, even and I preserve your interest even at the cost of diluting my own interest. Is I'm out looking out for you. I'm covering you, and I will not allow anything bad to happen to you. The second is integrity, doing what you say you will do, reliability. And the third one is, of course, capability, that I'm capable of doing what I'm promising that I will do. So I think here the consistent and underlying thesis is of benevolence, that I am there looking out after your interest, and you know, I'm expressing it in different ways. You
I
validate.
was when I think Rapido as a service provider came into the market after Uber and Ola were fairly well established. And I still remember when my wife had actually downloaded the app for the first time. She used the app and she took a cab late in the night. She came back home and then she got a call. It
Mm,
was to check whether you reached home.
yeah. Mhm.
And I think since then, her default choice has always been Rapido. And I think it's just the benevolence of thinking of how do I cover this? How do I ensure? And I think that surely has an impact on how people look at brands, how people look at organizations. So how do we knit it in the fabric is what the question is all about.
Mm.
So great then. So that's about life events. So
Here in this one, there is a third category, which is festivals. You,
mm,
uh, as an organization, can get involved or not get involved, because the organization is likely to be on a holiday when these festivals, especially Indian festivals, are happening. So I think two, three things. The one thing clearly is that a lot of festivals are built around religious events, or they're religious festivals. And so one needs to be equal in terms of, uh, you know, being open to celebrate all festivals. One could also, choose not to be engaged in that. But again, I would recommend that let that be a conscious call,
mm.
conscious decision, not a default decision. And then what do you do around each of these? So I think the dry fruits and the sweets box, if you're still stuck in that, I don't think you're.
See, I came across a case very recently. Okay, there was this organization which has been in the market for over a decade.
mm,
and now it has been acquired. I mean, it was always a sister concern, and now the brands have kind of unified, so they don't operate as an Indian brand; they operate as an international brand. Whatever reason be it, they decided for Diwali we're not going to give sweets,
mm,
and we're going to do a season's greeting maybe later, so that it kind of covers um Navratri, Diwali, Christmas, New Year put together. Something that's right in the middle of all of this.
mm,
Now, what I foresee is is
mm,
kids are always going to compare what came home,
mm,
right? I was As a kid, I would always compare what came in my dad's office sweet box, and my friend,
mm,
my neighbor, next door neighbor, is going to come and say, "This is what dad got."
mm,
And I think, see, that the sweet box or the dry fruits not coming 1 year is not going to make much of a difference.
mm,
But I think at the family, at the homes, when everybody is doing it, and there is an organization that does not send a sweet box across, it's always like, I hope everything's okay
mm,
at work. So these are very softer aspects, but it's important that they get it right. And I know, I mean, Diwali, larger organization, it's a logistical nightmare because they design fancy bags for these sweet boxes. The sweet boxes come a little early, the bags arrive a little late, the box sit in the office storeroom getting stale, and then lo and behold, we have another problem altogether. So I think let's also appreciate the fact that there is a lot of logistics involved in planning the whole thing around festivals, and not doing surely brings in a lot of brickbats. So how does HR address this?
Look, on the sweets front, and especially if you're dealing with Gen Z and uh, they're more health conscious, and they'll say sweets they're not going to touch. Why not just two small diyas for the Diwali thing, right? There is a diya that people light.
Oh, you never know. Somebody might just come in and ask for protein powders. So
Okay,
so
so
be it.
to the HR business partners and the team members themselves, I think has to be a dialogue. And whatever their wisdom, collective wisdom suggests that they should do this year, and I recommend that you do that. You relook at stuff every year. It can change from year to year, and that's fine. You need to put a budget and you need to deploy all the logistics to be able to make that happen. And it's a good thing to do. It gets people to engage and work together to create joy for others. It's very fulfilling to do that. So I think different strokes for different folks, and it's all okay. All I'm saying is that be thoughtful.
Mm,
Don't do a default thing. That this is what we've been doing, so this is what we'll continue doing. There is one more a very important event from multiple perspectives with which I want to kind of close the events, lifestyle cycle events piece, which is exits or goodbyes. How does the organization plan to deal with it? And how they will deal with it is going to leave either a bad taste in the mouth for everybody involved, or it will build the engagement not only for the people who's, who are still with you, the colleagues, the others who see what you're doing as an organization, and also your brand ambassador is going to go out tomorrow into the market. So I think there is enough and more sane advice around in terms of how do you deal with separations. I mean, in the earlier days, probably it was simple. I understand, you know, 40, 50 years back, you retired from the same company when you were
mm.
60 or 65 in the US, maybe, with a gold watch. I think gold watches have gone out of fashion. Um, but so figure out, understand that how you treat this person who has chosen to part ways is going to, people will see it under a microscope, how you're dealing with this person. Have you been fair? Have you been kind? Have you been, um, are you keeping your end of the bargain well?
The
Or
the
are you?
one strategy for exit which I feel has never worked, has consistently failed, but it still manages to make its way into the organization's operational standpoint is the hush hush around somebody exiting.
Not even acknowledging, people being afraid to walk up and say that, heard you're leaving, and I have come to say best of luck. And
And honestly, it's never about, see, the last day formalities, you can still get it operationally right. But imagine an organization, most organizations nowadays have 3 months of notice period. Somebody puts in the paper, the manager accepts, and that starts the stop clock for 3 months. And trying to keep this hush hush for 3 months is, I don't know. I
there's a
mean,
dead man walking, and the team behaves as if they're in a funeral. Especially if the boss's attitude stinks. Uh,
great.
I think as an organization, you need to get your act together, do it right.
So surely the hush hush, I haven't seen it work, uh, because the news leaks from the worst of sources, the best of sources goes to the worst of individuals, and then it spreads,
Hmm.
and then suddenly you have a bigger elephant to address within the room.
Hmm.
So yes, separations surely are a very important life event for the organization as well, because even if it's like a couple of months, I mean, that's some journey that you've had with the individual. So I'm pretty sure there will be something to acknowledge. And the point that you mentioned is, when the word spreads that the organization kept its end of the bargain, I think everybody trusts the organization a lot more. And then they know, I mean, they don't have their backs against the wall. I mean, they know they're dealing with an organization that's fair. Right?
So the last 2 points, quickly, Harish. One is on our need to contribute. So we like sharing what we have expertise in or what we have. So how are your corporate social responsibility programs, whether you're kind of in that turnover and profitability bracket or not? I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about tapping into the need that people have of being good to the community that they are part of. So how are you engaging them? And some examples that I can think of, brilliant examples. Cafeteria, a lot of food was getting left behind. One of the glad, mad, sad meetings that we did, somebody pointed that out. And so the question was asked, what do you think is the solution? Would somebody want to volunteer to figure out what we can do? And sure enough, a group of people said that, look, I'm willing to kind of take responsibility for voluntarily getting this collected and getting this distributed to hungry people or street kids or orphanages, whatever food is usable, not the one which is waste. Um, and the organization was able to step in and say, okay, we'll purchase all the vessels, we'll allocate a van that can kind of go and just give this out to these places. And I think such a brilliant thing. Similarly, adoption of a government school nearby, um, just the beautifying of the office space, potted plants. I mean, involve people in all of this.
I mean,
It's very
another a recent case that I came across. There was this organization where they collected a lot of food grains, a lot of a ration for an old age home.
Hmm.
Okay, and they managed to collect a lot of kilos of rice, pulses, and then it all went to the home, and they said, "Thank you so much. I mean, thank you so much for the great service." And then a few months later, the biggest challenge was stocking it, because stocking food grains, which actually would last them an entire year, is a challenge in itself. Um, and somebody within the team and the organization talking about spoke about all of it could be loaded in a card, right? At one of the marts, could be a D Mart or the Geo Mart, whatever that's around that, and every month they can actually go and buy their requirement. That's such a smart way of looking at a solution. It serves the purpose so much more in such better manner. It's instead of we giving what we think is relevant to them, we're able to find and these are all technology companies. I mean, you find a tech solution to a problem, and I think there's so much that could be done to fit exactly the need,
Yeah, and
and I think the whole idea is to align.
that truly engages people because they can see that they're making a difference to somebody else. And that's so fulfilling. The last one, which will make a lot of difference to you, one of the things that keeps tribes together is laughter, dance, and music.
Ah,
What are you doing about this? So we
oof.
had, I've had, chance to create these pods where people could, after 5:30, whoever wants to claim that space, whether it is storytelling, whether it is strumming the guitar, whether it is doing a karaoke, whether it is, uh, you know, doing a dance step or two. Have you created spaces where people can just be together? I don't want to call it adda because that's the word that will come to you from your Calcutta association, but let people be.
Nothing good has ever come out of the adda, by the way.
A collegial atmosphere, then let me say that in a more polished way. So how are you creating these spaces that people can unwind, relax, be themselves, chat without context reference to the projects? Look, work, some of the work that we do is very strenuous. We do need to take a break, we do need to take a breather, and all of this helps. So back to you. I'm kind of, with this I'll wrap up the
Yeah, that's fantastic, Chief. I think a lot of brilliant examples, and thank you so much for walking us through this. So, life events are extremely important. We need to think. There has to be strategy around to personalize it in a way so that the people feel there is some thought behind it. I think that's a beautiful way of putting that. And and the point that we closed with, the whole fact around creating spaces for people to express themselves. Uh, and I think from an individual's perspective, an individual's worth is not only about how they contribute to the organization. There is a lot more to that individual. And I think to be able to create a space where they're able to express themselves makes them feel more at home. And I'm pretty sure from the HR metrics standpoint, the retention, I think behind retention stands belonging. And more people belong to a place, they stay around, and that shows in the way people are able, organizations are able to retain people. So once again, thank you so much, Eve, for walking us through something that looks, yeah, it's there, but how do we use that? Yeah, it's there to create an experience that's, aha, that's how we do it, and that's when people feel that they belong to this, the space, the tribe, the clan. So once again, thank you so much. So with that, it's curtains for the cultural aspect, the cultural axis of employee engagement that we promised we will talk to our humans of HR about, and any queries, any suggestions, we would look forward to read your comments. You want to write in, please do that, and as it's a norm to say at the end of every episode, please do like, share, and subscribe. Right? Don't forget to do that, and help us reach more humans of HR so that we create a community and that looks at things the right way. Thank you so much. I look forward to interacting with you in the next episode.
Thank you, Harish. Take care. Bye.
Bye bye.